Okay, so in this lesson, let's start to replace our blockout meshes with some Kitbash assets to start to add some details into our scene. We will also bring in a scale dummy so we can start to establish some of our scene scale. Let's dive in. So I kind of went ahead and brought in a bunch of the Kitbash pieces I'll be using to block out the first part of the scene, which is going to be like establishing a little bit more detail for like the wall structure and maybe like this little office room area here. If your computer is a little bit weaker, I would suggest to keep these as a separate scene, as a lot of stuff in one scene can start to cause it to be super laggy, even if they are hidden. As well as when you like save it and load it, it'll take quite a bit longer to load the scene, and sometimes Cinema 4D will just not want to load it and you'll have like a dead scene. So I would suggest, if you have a weaker machine, to keep these pieces separately and then just go into your area and say I want to like grab this piece. So I'll just Control C it, come into my working scene, Control V. And now I have like my piece or pieces I've shift selected in here to add into my scene. What I'm going to do is add a new symmetry, as I'll keep these as my like blockout pieces. So I'll just come down here, and all my blockout symmetries and stuff, you may have more or less or something. Just so I know though, these are all these like establishing cubes and cylinders and stuff. And you'll see that I have like my Kitbash pieces just in a group in the bottom, and then they're all just sort of in their respected groups that they came in with the scenes. And to use these Kitbash pieces, what I like to do is, in the top right of this little objects window here is like a window with a plus sign. I'm just going to click that, and it'll actually create a second object window. I'm just going to grab these three lines here, click and drag. I'm going to add it down here, similar to how we had moved the extra viewport panel. And this allows me to copy paste my Kitbash pieces into my symmetry node just a little bit more efficiently, because once you get into here, you'll have like a bunch of these open and you're like scrolling forever, clicking and then dragging, and it just takes forever to move the pieces. So it just makes it a little bit more efficient, because I can come in here, say I want to use this guy, I'll click it, then I can hover over top of this object window, click S to frame it, and then in here I can just click and drag it where I want it to be. Or actually what you want to do is Control click and drag it, and that'll copy it out into there. So now I have this guy that'll be in like symmetry kind of thing. So this guy you can have pretty small, because we'll only ever click like a couple pieces at a time. So I'm going to create a symmetry node. This will be like our walls and stuff. So I'm just going to name it like wall symmetry. And for my walls, I want my sort of flow of detailing to sort of help push the eyes into my like focal point area. And so I want to make my wall detailing a little bit more lateral to help like push the flow like into the scene here. So when I'm looking at these pieces, I'm kind of looking at them, how they would feel like sideways. Let's take this guy here. It has some like cool detailing here and stuff that could be interesting. So you see how it has like a secondary bits. I actually want to have these as well. So I'm just going to shift click those guys. And then let's click S down here like I talked about before. And Control click and drag it up into our wall symmetry. And then I'm actually just going to group these under a null. so that the symmetry will grab everything and symmetrize it. And I'm just going to bring this here, bring this into my scene here. So I'm going to rotate it on its side. Let's scale it up quite a bit here. I'm actually going to open up another viewport panel, or like similar to how we had when we were blocking out. Let's just dock it down here again as well. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So now I have like a little bit of a visual representation of what I'm doing over here. So I might actually push this back a little bit. And so I know I'm working on this wall and I know it's going to generally be here. So I'm just going to go into my one block out, just turn off symmetry real quick so I can like select these guys. Yeah, actually I'll just delete them because I know what's going to be there now. So I just want to grab these guys. And what I'm actually going to do is just group those as well. Just so now I can just move the null instead of like shift clicking them both every time. And actually the details on the flip side, so I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees there. That's starting to cut off the edge there, you can see that. But that might be something that's interesting for us. Or something like that. Or it might be like adding like another piece that'll help us do something like that later down the line. Let's just do something like that for now, maybe. So I'm going to go back in here and just find another piece that we can start to use for the back wall. Something like this guy could be pretty good. So I'm going to go down into my window here, this S to frame it, and then drag and drop it into my symmetry there. And just drag it over here into position. Let me scale it up. I like to sometimes make these a lot thicker, just so like these like details like go like way in instead of being super flat. It'll depend on like what kind of pieces you are using. I'm just going to rotate it on its side. And then what do we see here? We see like in this back wall there. Let's actually rotate this 90 degrees, or like the 45. And you can see that sometimes I'm only using like, you're only able to really see like a little bits and pieces of it. I kit bashed like every little bit, and you can like see that it is kit bashed. There's some of those cool like squigglies going on. Actually, what I'm going to do is just hide this outer block out for now. I'm just going to like go in here and just add like a bunch of details. Maybe bring this guy and flatten him out again. It's kind of going into my shape there, so maybe I'll pull it back just a little bit. Maybe we can grab it again. Just pull him out here. I'm going to go into its coordinates and then just zero out its rotation. And I'm just going to add it down here just to help give some more detail down there. Something like that. So now we have a little bit more line flow going into our scene there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just finish blocking out the background walls and stuff. And I'll show you guys once I'm done that. Alright, so I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update. I was playing around with the details back here where we had like the little opening for the walkway. And I just wanted to show you like what I'm thinking I want to do. So when you look at our camera view here, you'll see that like a lot of like the cool detail I was kind of playing around with is lost. Once you like block out your scene and you get your camera established, it's not really like set in stone. You're still able to like tweak the camera and move some of the pieces to help support it. I'm thinking I want to have like a little bit more of like this corridor wall being visible, but I don't necessarily want to move these big structures because I feel like they're nice and balanced in the scene. So what I'm actually going to do here is just select some of these wall pieces here. And this is where my blockout wall is, but I'm just going to like move it forward a bit. Just help bring some of that like interior wall out there. And then just sort of adjust the stuff around that again. And then you'll see like once I'm done that, I'll be able to see a little bit more of that wall back there. As well as we can maybe come in here and rotate this just slightly. Maybe just something like that, just so I can see a little bit more back there, but we still have our composition pretty much established. I have a little bit of the wall on the side here visible, so I'll just kind of tweak these sidewall pieces to move that out of the way. And then I'll continue going and then I'll update you guys again.